The text came in at 6:32 p.m. on March the 15th, 2024. Our 10th wedding anniversary. I'm stuck at work. Big deadline. I'm so sorry, babe. Happy 10th anniversary. I'll make it up to you this weekend. Love you. 3 heart emojis. A kiss face emoji. The digital shorthand of a woman who had been lying to me for 14 months and had gotten so comfortable with it that she could decorate her lies with little cartoon hearts. I was sitting in my truck outside Bastion's, already dressed, already early, already trying, charcoal suit. Not expensive, but it meant something. And before I go any further, if stories like this hit a little too close to home, if you understand what quiet betrayal feels like, consider subscribing, not for me, for the reminder that you're not the only one who's been there. I had flowers on the passenger seat, stargazer lilies, her favorite, 10 years in a row. This time, I wanted to hand them to her myself, see her reaction, see if anything real was still there. I read the message again. Stuck at work. I almost left, almost called a friend, almost chose comfort over truth, but I had already paid for the reservation. And something told me, go inside. That decision changed everything. I walked in at 8:10, sat alone, ordered wine, placed the flowers across from me like she might still show up. And then I looked up. There are moments in life where everything slows down, where your brain understands before your body does. This was one of those moments. She was there, not across the room randomly, no, seated comfortably, hidden just enough to feel private, wearing the black dress I bought her, the one she said she was saving for something special. This was the special, but I wasn't part of it. She was sitting across from him, older, confident, the kind of man who doesn't ask permission. His hand was already on hers, champagne on the table, laughter in the air. And then it happened. She leaned in and kissed him. Not hesitation, not guilt. A real kiss, the kind that belongs to someone else now. Everything inside me snapped, not loudly, quietly, like a wire overheating behind a wall. I stood up. I was going to walk over there. I was going to burn the whole place down with truth, but I didn't get far. A hand grabbed my arm. Sit down. Calm voice. Too calm. I turned. A woman I'd never seen before was looking at me like she already knew how this night would end. I don't know who you are. I know who they are. That stopped me completely. I know that man. I know your wife. And if you move right now, you'll ruin everything. Everything? My marriage was already gone. But something in her tone. This wasn't guesswork. This was certainty. So I sat. She took the seat across from me, right next to the flowers I brought for my wife. My name is Vivian Hale. I'm a private investigator. And just like that, the night shifted. What I thought was betrayal, was just the surface, because what she told me next made that kiss feel small. You're looking at Sterling Mercer, she said, your wife's boss. I felt my jaw tighten, but she kept going. And their relationship isn't just an affair, it's evidence. Evidence? For a $5 million mistake. Now I was listening, really listening, because suddenly, this wasn't just about heartbreak. This was about something bigger, darker, calculated. She explained it piece by piece. Sterling, powerful, rich, twice divorced, and arrogant enough to believe he'd never get caught again. That was his pattern. And my wife? She wasn't the first, just the newest. And then came the part that hit harder than the kiss. Your wife has been receiving money. I frowned. What kind of money? $15,000 a month. Everything inside me went still. For 14 months. She slid the statement toward me. Numbers don't lie. 211, 47, 33. Hidden. From me. From our marriage. From our life. And just like that, the story changed. This wasn't just cheating. This was betrayal with structure, with planning, with intent. I looked back at her. Why are you telling me this? She didn't hesitate. Because if you stay calm tonight, you don't just walk away with pain. She leaned forward slightly. You walk away with everything. And that's when I realized The biggest mistake I could make was reacting. Because sometimes, silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. And I was about to learn that the hard way. I didn't realize it yet, but the hardest thing I was about to do was nothing. Just sit there, breathe, and watch my entire life unravel without making a sound. Vivian leaned back slightly, eyes still on me, measuring. 30 minutes, she said. That's all I need from you. 30 minutes felt like a lifetime. Across the room, my wife smiled at another man like I didn't exist. Like 10 years meant nothing. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was how normal she looked. No guilt, no hesitation. Just comfort. Like this had been her real life for a long time. And I had just been the background. You confront them now, Vivian continued. You get a scene. Her voice stayed level, controlled. But if you wait, you get leverage. That word stuck. Leverage. Not revenge, not anger. Control. I exhaled slowly. Explain. She nodded like she expected that. I have a team watching them, she said. One outside, one at the hotel. Hotel. Of course there was a hotel. Tonight doesn't end here, she added. It never does. I felt something cold settle inside me. Not rage, something sharper. Focus. And everything they do after this, I asked. Documented, she said. Time-stamped. Undeniable. I looked down at the wine in front of me. Untouched. Then back at her. And what do I get out of this? She didn't sugarcoat it. The truth, she said, and the power to use it. That hit differently, because suddenly, this wasn't just about what she did. It was about what I could do next. And right then, I made the decision. I stayed. I didn't move, didn't speak, didn't let them know I was there. And something shifted inside me. If you've ever been in a moment like that, where everything breaks at once, you know how easy it is to lose control. But one thing that actually helps is grounding yourself before you act. There's a simple guide I came across later that breaks down exactly how to handle emotional shock without destroying your future in the process. It's not therapy talk, it's practical, step-by-step thinking. When your mind is chaos, I'll leave it in the description. If you ever find yourself in a situation where one bad decision could cost you everything, because that's the truth. One wrong move that night, and I lose everything. My kids, my case, my leverage. So I stayed still, and I watched. The dinner ended like nothing was wrong. They stood up. He placed his hand on her back, familiar, practiced, and they walked out together. Just like that, like it was routine, because for them, it was. I didn't follow. I didn't need to. Vivian stood up calmly. It's done, she said. By tomorrow morning I'll have everything. I nodded, but I wasn't really hearing her anymore, because the reality was settling in. Not just that she cheated, not just the money, but the time. 14 months. 14 months of lies. While I was building a life I thought was real. And that's when it hit me hardest. This wasn't a mistake. This was a decision, repeated over and over again. I stood up slowly, picked up the flowers. They felt heavier now. Pointless. Go home, Vivian said. Act normal. Normal. That word almost made me laugh, but I understood, because the real fight was just beginning. I went home that night, and everything looked the same. Same walls, same quiet, same life. But I wasn't the same man anymore. The next morning, I made one call, a lawyer, and from that moment, I stopped reacting and started building, case by case, detail by detail. Everything Vivian promised came through: photos, hotel records, bank statements, messages, not guesses, proof. And when my wife was finally served, it didn't happen in a fight. It happened in silence, in public, where truth doesn't need volume. Her reaction: panic, tears, denial. But it was too late, because here's what people don't understand about betrayal. It's not the moment you get caught that destroys you. It's the pattern that gets exposed, the months, the lies, the planning. That's what ends everything. The divorce was fast, not painless, but clean. I kept my kids, my home, my stability. She lost more than the marriage. She lost credibility. And the man she chose, he paid for it too. $5 million, and a reputation that never fully came back. But here's the part that matters most. A year later, I'm still standing. Not perfect, not untouched, but stronger. Because I didn't let one emotional moment destroy my future. And if you've made it this far, if this story felt real to you, take this as your reminder. Sometimes the strongest move is the one no one sees. And before you go, if you want more stories like this, real, raw, and honest, consider subscribing. Not just for the stories, but for the lessons hidden inside them, because you never know when you might need one.